Am I sideways to you guys, or am I good?
No, you're sideways.
All right, hold on. We got newfangled technology here.
Technology from the future is what we were discussing earlier. Most people put their life savings and lose it all. We only hear about the people who get rich and not lose their money. Well, I'm still trying to figure out how Vanessa says that Tesla guy, that's his name? Yeah, Tesla, the coil guy, said we didn't have to pay for electricity or power. I pay it for power. Trust me.
He invented. I know we pay for power because Edison was like, "No, we're gonna pay for power."
Now you're good.
Screw you, Tesla.
How's that now?
Yeah, you're good.
All right.
Welcome.
Thank you.
How you doing tonight?
Not too bad. Not too bad.
Yeah, we're not bad either. We're doing something a little different tonight, Mr. Brian Kingpin. First of all, when I started prepping for the show, I went to get your Twitter handle, and it says the Kingpin, and I remembered the Kingpin, and then I started to fall down the rabbit hole of Hawkeye, the rabbit hole of Daredevil, and the Marvel, and I'm like, I can't do this. I can't fall down a different rabbit hole tonight. But it just remind me again where that nickname came from. Did it have anything to do with Kingpin and Marvel?
Oh, sorry, you got out there for a second.
All I said was remind me again of your nickname, where it came from.
Well, the guy who used to own Chaotic Wrestling. He was a big comic book fan, and at that time I wasn't really familiar with like comic book characters, but he thought the Kingpin would be a very fitting nickname for me because of my stature and similarities to the Kingpin Marvel character.
Yeah, for sure. That's what I thought. I couldn't remember. And back then when we were doing the shows, I deleted all the notes after the show was over. Now I keep them, but I deleted them then.
Well, I never really used Kingpin. I guess a little bit, very, very early on in my stint in Ring of Honor. But really, there was the Kingdom, there was Kenny King. Later on came Brody King.
Yeah.
Just too much repetition of King stuff.
Too many Kings. Too many Kings.
Yeah.
Bittersweet this past weekend with Ring of Honor.
Yeah. It's a bummer. I mean, hopefully the company comes back. It definitely felt like a goodbye, not so much a see you later.
Right.
But I'm just going to take what they're saying at face value, and that Ring of Honor will be back. And when it does come back, I sure hope I'm part of it. Right now though, I guess technically I'm not a free agent until January 1st, but really I'm a free agent right now for the first time in about 4 or 5 years. So it's a little bit different feeling, but still a familiar feeling from the early, when I say early part of my career, the first 15 years or so.
But so the last time we had you on, you are a conspiracy theory guy. Is it fair to say that?
Well, I think I just fall down, like you talk about rabbit holes. I tend to just fall down these rabbit holes. I think the last time we talked, we were like smack dab in the middle of, the pandemic.
Yeah.
I mean, here we are, and I feel like things are getting worse than they've ever been. But yeah, you have time on your hands, and you fall down these weird rabbit holes of lizard people in the Denver airport and Sasquatch and.
So I'm going to tackle, because one of my favorite movies, The Matrix, comes out on December 22nd. And The Matrix, I base everything I know about the simulation theory conspiracy on The Matrix. It's like wow, it's like the Bible almost. We can all relate to it. It's a working document that we all have. And that was 22 years ago, The Matrix. 22.
Believe it or not, I've never seen The Matrix.
Oh.
I've never have seen it in my life. But I know what you're talking about when you talk about the
simulation theory?
Simulation conspiracy theory, yeah.
Oh, I'll do my best not to reference the Matrix as much as I can.
Oh, reference it all you want. I mean, at this point, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm past the point of spoiler-free worries at this point. You know what I mean? Like, I've the statute of limitations is long past
No,
on.
no spoiler alerts on a 22-year-old movie.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if you give me spoiler alerts on, No Way Home, I might have to come up and find you and put a hurting on you. But for the Matrix, yeah, I mean, the statute of limitations is passed on that.
Simulation theory for people out there, is basically that we're not real. We're coded. This is one theory. Somebody higher evolved than us has made Sims, like the video game, and we are living in it. But that's not a new concept. Like, I was a philosophy minor in college, and Plato had the whole cave allegory where you were only perceiving the shadows that you could see in front of you and all this other stuff. Basically, reality was bullshit because your reality was just what you could perceive as opposed to what it actually is.
I mean, no matter what you believe, on some level, that's probably pretty true. There's your perception of the world, and you're going to see the world differently than I'm going to see the world, and even our own self perceptions. We're going to get deep here. I feel like I should have been drinking for this.
It's ironic. I only have one beer. I have one. I have to nurse it, and I don't like to nurse them.
Well, I mean, it is a Tuesday night, so
that is.
I mean, I may have had a couple of beverages over the course of this weekend. So, yes. Drinking on Tuesday night, maybe not the best idea rough. After the one or two beverages I had over the course of this past final battle weekend.
Yeah. That's why our Thursday shows are usually better.
Even your perception of yourself, like, you're going to perceive me different than I perceive myself, different than my kids are going to perceive me versus my wife versus my friends. Like, there's like these different versions of you that exist in everybody's mind and in your own mind. So yeah, I think the funniest things I've heard over the last few years, though, of like proof of the simulation theory is one was the Patriots Falcons Super Bowl.
Oh, boy. 20 what was
proof
it?
Of yeah, it was like 27-3, like in the fourth quarter or something like that, and that was like somebody else took over, like somebody else stepped away, like the person who had it stepped away, and the other person took over. And then the other one being the Donald Trump presidency.
Yes,
proof of that we're living in some sort of weird simulation. So.
And that is one of, like, I've heard that too. Some of the evidence that people say is that this world is just way too crazy. Like, the stuff that's happening you mentioned it with the Trump presidency, with COVID, with all this. It's just crazy, almost too insane to comprehend.
I mean, it is and it isn't, right? I mean, we live in a world now where I don't even think the 24-hour news cycle is an accurate portrayal of the world now when it comes to. I think we're just more keenly aware of things. The information is easier to access than ever. You become of things in a moment that you never would have been aware of before. You're just inundated with information, and between social media and television and all the things that they have to report on, and also too, like, I think you're still in this world where opinions seep into fact. I mean, I remember, I don't know how old you are. I just turned the big 4-0, but this is, we've evolved from a world of Peter Jennings, World News Tonight. That's the facts, just the facts, and that's what happened to. We have nonstop editorial news programs, and it's such a. I just feel like when everybody talks about the world being it's worse than it ever was, or whatever, I don't know that it is.
Right.
I just think it's more brought to all the evil and bad is more brought to light, and that's partly because That's what sells.
We sensationalize
That's
it.
what sells. Yeah,
Well,
it sells advertising.
Exactly. And I will turn the big 4-2 Saturday.
Oh,
Yeah.
happy early birthday.
For
My
sure.
son's birthday is Friday.
Nice. But yeah, so that was my thing. I was going to say, some people argue that the world's so crazy that it must be a simulation of some sort. But like you said, with social media and the way things are, like, we know everything where we would never know before. I used to watch the news. Now I don't, because I feel like it's just everywhere.
Well, the news isn't the news. The news isn't the news.
No,
to me,
that's true.
the news is similar to, CNN has the same intentions that Vince McMahon has. Put on a good television program so you can sell the rights fees and advertising and make money. It might as well be pro wrestling at this point.
Did you hear that? We'll get back on the simulation thing, but someone else is controlling me right now. Did you hear CNN is going to have a streaming service? CNN Plus.
I'm sorry, you cut out there for a second. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. CNN is going to have a streaming service. CNN Plus.
I mean, for what?
Don't know.
Aren't they already 24/7?
Not sure what exclusive shows they're going to put on. But I heard that on Stern this week. So I don't know why that came to my head.
I mean, it's funny that even within the news and stuff like that, you got conspiracy theories too, because if you believe the conspiracy theories of the government actually controls the news media and pumps the information they want put out to to either distract the public while they do something, or this conspiracy theories all around us, wrapped in everything now.
I would say that's fact in Canada, because our government here pays for our news outlet.
Well, there you go.
That doesn't say.
In the United States, we try to hide that, I guess, but I don't even know what to believe anymore.
Yeah. But I was preparing, and I was falling down the rabbit hole of this simulation theory. And I started thinking to myself, like, could the human race, or any race for that matter, evolve to a point where we're so intelligent that we could make simulations, like inside a bubble, like almost test things, and that's what we're living in right now. And I was like, I don't think I'm even smart enough to comprehend this. So then I fell down even farther. So then I kept falling. So I'm thinking, well, what if the simulation gets so evolved that then they create their own simulation? And so, in theory, I could be the fifth experiment. I guess I was getting towards the human race. If they evolved, created a simulation because they wanted to test something. They want to test global warming. So they're going to create a simulation. They're going to do all this stuff, and they're going to make it so there's global warming and see how that plays out. And this is one of them. And then COVID is one of them. And then the Trump presidency is one of them. I just kept falling, Brian. I just kept falling and falling.
Well, somehow we're living in all those ones that have crossed over.
And that's the thing. Like, if we're in a simulation right now at this very moment, and we're just coded friggin' things, whose simulation is it? Is it yours? Like, you're the one that's plugged in like the Matrix, and I'm just a code? Or are we in Vanessa's? Or are we in mine? Or are we in a whole one where we are literally a human on the other side that's plugged in? And if so, do I look the same, or am I Keanu Reeves?
So you're like, who's the main
Yeah.
character? Essentially, is what you're wondering.
Who's the main character of this video game?
Well, I think in our own minds, we all are the main character, right?
Ironically, yes. I think it is a very egotistical, and that's the other thing. This whole simulation theory, very egotistical. Like, it all has to be like me, not us.
Human existence in itself, human beings are pretty arrogant. We're a pretty arrogant species. We think we are living in the most important time period in the entire history of time. When in reality, I think I saw one time that if the history of Earth was or history of the universe, whatever, was like a book, we would show up in the last sentence of the last paragraph on the last page, type of thing.
Like a footnote.
Yeah. I mean, essentially, we believe that we are the most important beings that have ever existed, and our time period is the most important in the history of existence. So, so much so we believe we control essentially everything around us, when in reality, we know and control nothing. We know and control nothing unless the simulation theory is true, and we are really plugged in, and then we control everything. In this world, at least.
Does it even matter if we're in a simulation or not?
No, I guess not. I mean, I guess not. I mean, now you're really getting deep now, because I mean, then you could just argue: does our existence matter at all? Like, truly.
Well, okay, let's get a little deep for a second, because I'm not a religious guy. I always say I was, until I was old enough to realize that football was on the same day as church. And as soon as I realized that, I was no longer religious. But it's almost like, and if I get this wrong, I apologize to everybody. I think Christianity is the right word. Christianity has a lot of similarities as a simulation theory, because in reality, what we're living now to a Christian is not the be all end all. It's like a test to something else eternal. So it's almost like a simulation.
Yeah.
To something else.
Oh, there's lots of theory. There's lots of theories about that too. Somebody recently told me about one of that. The theory that we are all actually, in reality, one being at different phases of life. So essentially, we're all one being, and we live every person who's ever lived and you basically just are going around in this and living that one life at a time type of thing, and like this continuous loop.
Wow.
Think about that, right? Somebody told me that recently, and I was like, wow, okay. Now, you want to talk about things that I'm not smart enough to comprehend.
I can't even wrap my mind
I couldn't even.
Yeah.
No, I was like, okay, I'm not even going to delve into that one. Like, that's not even like, there's other things. I mean, I don't know if this goes into the simulation, but it kind of feels sort of the same, that like, the world actually ended in like 2012. Because some like Swedish scientist was playing around with black holes or something, and everything got sucked up, and he essentially recreated the Big Bang, and we started all over, which explains some of the weird. Maybe it's kind of a counter argument or explanation to the simulation theory, because that's sort of the explanation for why things have been so crazy since 2012. Donald Trump presidency, Super Bowl, Bernstein Bears. Trying to think of these other things, Payless Shoe Source or whatever the hell it was. Like all these other, the Mandela.
Lots of Mandela effects. Yeah, I was gonna get to those, man, and I had the Bernstein Bears, which I didn't even realize until I started delving into it. Shazam is what kicked me off with the Mandela effect. Have you seen Shazam?
I don't. So
with Sinbad in it?
No, that's the one that doesn't exist, right? Because it gets confused with Kazam. That was Shaq.
I think so. I mean, people are telling me Shazam doesn't exist, but I'm fairly certain I've seen it.
I think the
watched it on
Sinbad
cable
one is the one they
television.
say. Yeah, so that's the one they say though. Like if you look now, it doesn't exist.
Right.
That's the Shazam one, but people swear it did. The Bernstein Bears one definitely got me. I was like, well, wait a second, that was also the Bernstein Bears. That's the one that messes with my mind.
I went back. I looked at all my
A
books
little
too.
bit.
I checked them all.
Yeah. I mean, it's that's supposedly like people. That's all the other theories. That's like people like time travelers leaving markers for us to let us know that they've traveled time and altered history type things. There's all sorts of theories about the Mandela Effect stuff, but the Bernstein Bears, which I always thought was the Bernstein Bears, was the one that really played with my mind. I was like, wait a second here.
What about the Monopoly Man? He doesn't have a
monocle.
Yeah, he doesn't have one. Doesn't have a monocle.
Yeah, I don't remember him ever having one. So that one for me is like.
See, and then so this plays into it. So you don't remember it, and I do. Now I'm slightly.
Are you confusing him with Mr. Peanut?
No, I would have confused a peanut with a rich man.
Well, there was, so I feel like my theory on where the monocle thing started with that was I'm pretty sure in one of the Ace Ventura movies, like he says, like, and you must be the Monopoly guy, and the guy has a monocle in that.
Yeah,
so that's
right.
the only time I ever remember like anything with that. But I don't remember the Monopoly guy ever having a monocle. Like that's one that. But there are other ones like the Payless Shoe Store. I think it's like actually like Payless Shoe Source or something. That's another one that threw me. Like there's been a couple more. Like different logos and things.
I got some.
Like,
I got some.
You can look online. There's a ton of them. Yeah,
I got some written down, so I'm gonna throw them at you. Because the reason I had them written down because a lot of people are saying that these are glitches in the Matrix or glitches in the simulation where they happened, and then for one reason or another, when something got changed in the code, these things got changed in the process. So they didn't change these things specifically. Something else was changed in the code, which caused a ripple effect and changed these. One of them being Raisin Bran. The son, 2 scoops of raisins.
Yep.
Okay. The son was wearing sunglasses, but he was not wearing sunglasses.
He for sure was wearing sunglasses.
That's what I thought.
I don't remember that.
That's what I thought.
I don't remember that. The son wearing sunglasses.
What about Kit Kat? The candy Halloween. We just surpassed that a while ago, a couple months ago. Kit Kat. 2 words or one?
It's a hyphenated word, right?
No, it is not a hyphenated word.
Okay, I thought it was a hyphenated word.
No, I did too. I thought it was too. It's not. There's no hyphen in the middle of Kit Kat.
And there's never been?
Never been. Never been.
Wow, breaking news here. Breaking news, at least for me.
What about stovetop stuffing? Did you ever have that as a kid?
I did. Love stovetop stuffing.
Stovetop stuffing. Did you have Stouffer's stovetop stuffing?
No, I just thought it was stovetop.
Yeah, it was. A lot of people remember
by Stouffer's.
It was not by Stouffer's. A lot of people remember it as Stouffer's. It was not. It was well, I don't remember who it was by, but it was not Stouffer's, and I was convinced it was. I think we talked about it on here before, Vanessa. I was thoroughly convinced. I remember saying it in my house. Stovetops.
Yeah, it's Kraft here. I don't know if it's Kraft down there. But.
Yeah, it might be. I don't know. But yeah, a lot of
delicious. Whoever makes it, makes a fine product.
It doesn't matter who made it. It's fucking great. But yeah, there's a lot of these things. We even discovered, I'll ask you, Mr. Perfect, WWF Mr. Perfect. What's his name?
What do you mean? It's Kurt Hennig?
It's not Henning.
It's not Henning?
It's not Henning. It's not Kurt Hennig. It's Kurt Hennig. It's not Kurt Hennig.
What?
It's not. It's not.
That was my reaction.
It's not Kurt Hennig. It's not Henning. It's Hennig. It's not Kurt Hennig. It's Kurt Hennig.
Really?
100%. 100%.
Right.
Hold on. I think.
Oh. All right. Now you're messing with my mind here.
Yeah, because I was looking up wrestling conspiracy theories. So I came across that one, and that one appealed to me because I specifically remembered Kurt Hennig. Mr. Perfect Kurt Hennig. Not his name. Nope.
Huh. So, I mean, there's some good wrestling. There's something with like Vince McMahon being in like the Illuminati and
I'm sure about that.
WWE programming, like foreshadowing certain things or mirroring certain. I actually heard. I think it was on like the Chris Jericho podcast like years ago. Now I heard that whole thing about Vince being in the Illuminati and the whatever lizard people secret society, whatever you want to call it.
What did I just see? I just saw somewhere said they were talking to Randy Orton and they asked if Vince McMahon drank baby's blood. Well,
I'm convinced he's immortal or like a vampire or something.
That I believe. That I truly believe that. We're being told in the chat, Hennig, Hennig, is the shoot name. Henning is his work name, Henning. I don't know. I don't buy that. We looked it up. We checked it out in the chat.
Huh.
I know the difference between a shoot name and a work name, brother.
I'm totally gonna look that up. I'm using my phone right now for this, but I'm totally going to look that up at some point.
Well, I'll look it up. We can look it up right now. I heard. What other wrestling conspiracies do you got? Maybe you can build a whole segment for us.
I mean, that's all like conspiracy. I mean, there's all the wrestling urban legends or whatever.
Yeah, that's what I kept coming across.
Stephanie McMahon and Macho Man, but those are more, I think, just like dirty little secrets. And I mean, I think if the story of how Vince McMahon probably ever came to power, have the true story with all the dirt behind that, I think that would probably be a pretty interesting story. I don't know if it's conspiracy theories, though. It's probably just, urban legends and hidden secrets.
How he got it from his father?
No, I think how he kind of took over the business and put the territories.
Oh,
I
yeah.
I don't think that says honorable as it's portrayed on the WWE network.
Oh, I'm sure it's not. But I also... Now we're being told by someone else in the chat it's Hennig. If he didn't do that, well, maybe he took shady tactics. I don't know, but somebody else would have done the same thing that he did.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a natural progression of where the television industry was going. You're going from the networks and cable TV was starting, and you had some of that ability to go nationally. So it made a whole heck of a lot of sense, I think, to start taking it on a national level, especially when you think like these guys were going around to different territories and the same guys were sort of popular in every territory. So it's not much of a stretch to go, hey, if I just kept this guy and traveled all around myself and broadcast it to everyone, I could make all the money rather than sharing the wealth with all the other promoters.
I put out a tweet sometime today after work promoting the show. Ian Riccaboni of Ring of Honor said, we had to ask you about the WWF Canadian Championship. And I didn't know there was a Canadian Championship.
I think it was... Yeah, I think it was kind of like this. I don't even know if they had like a tangible title. I don't know the full details. I know it was very short-lived, and it was all surrounding Dino Bravo.
Right.
Like the WWF bought out the promotion that Dino Bravo was in. And I want to say Dino Bravo in Canada was announced as like the WWF Canadian champion, but like only in Canada, only when they did Canadian house shows. And I'm pretty sure Dino Bravo worked as a babyface in Canada. As the WWF Canadian champion. But again, I think this was like I don't even the early part of Dino Bravo being in WWF. So I don't know the full details. Ian is a certified wrestling historian. I think. Yeah, Dino Bravo was the WWF Canadian champion. I think for a very short period of time, and I think he was the only one too. I don't think anybody else ever held that distinction.
This is what we're being told in the chat. There was only one. It was Dino Bravo from 85 to 86. Now the question I ask is, was there an actual title? I don't know. I don't think there was a title, like a physical title.
There might have been. It could have been a repurposed belt from the promotion that WWE bought out up there. Who knows what it would have. I'm sure there was some sort of visual representation in the form of a championship title.
Let me see if this works. Let me see something. Hold on. Can you see that?
I can, yeah.
There's something over my face. It has more about the sound. And let me hit this button.
Obtaining slightly altered memories. Likewise, professional wrestling has its share of Mandela moments, as we're about to see. Given the bizarre nature of the
Alright, so this is from WrestleLamia. I don't know how credible they are, but this is where I first heard it.
Mandela Effect, fans might confuse it with...
We'll skip a little bit. I saw Mr. Perfect and thought he was coming right up, but he's not. Like you said, Urban Legends. That one, the Ultimate Warrior actually died, but there's one that people think Jannetty got super kicked through the glass when he didn't. He jumped through.
He jumped.
He jumped. He was running away. He's a coward. Well, he was. Where is that? Oh, here it is. Kurt Hennig or Kurt Hennig.
Number 2.
Kurt the bottom looks right to me.
To me too. That's what I thought.
Hennig. Despite dying at the age of 44, the life and times of the wrestler best known as Mr. Perfect were marked by amazing in-ring performances, powerful promos, and a reputation as a trusted friend, notorious prankster, country music singer, and family man. This second-generation wrestler turned down a chance as AWA World Heavyweight Champion to sign with the WWF, becoming its master of all trades, Mr. Perfect, an athlete capable of hitting a hole-in-one in golf, bowling a perfect game, and other incredible feats. Mr. Perfect enjoyed an unbeaten streak in singles competition from 1988 until WrestleMania 6, as well as 2 memorable reigns as Intercontinental Champion. What's not remembered so well are the correct spelling and pronunciation of his name, with many fans still remembering it as Kurt Hennig when it was actually Kurt Hennig. Many fans to this day still call him Kurt Hennig and ignore anyone who tries to correct them, proving no one has a perfect memory. But to our knowledge, there is no instance of the AWA, WWE, or WCW spelling it in that way, or even pronouncing it such. The only thing we came across was a misspelling in WWE 2K14, where it spelt Kurt Hennig in his NWO Titantron. We can only put this one down as a typo. But speaking of Mr. Perfect...
So, I saw that, and I didn't believe it.
Huh. It's kind of mind-blowing.
And I wanted to go back, and I wanted to, prime time, on the USA Network, it was a primetime wrestling when he was hosting. There was just a lot of Perfect back then, and I want to go back and watch it to hear Finkel announce it, because if Howard says it, then it's gospel. But I never got around to it. But yeah, so maybe that's a glitch. Maybe somewhere along the line the code got changed, and it changed Kurt Hennig to Hennig.
I'd love to know how what's the randomness of some of these things that get.
Yeah.
I mean, was maybe our names were something different at some point?
Maybe. Could easily. There could be another L in Milonas, for all we know.
I know, right?
We don't know.
Depends on where you're from. That's why there's so many Smiths and Schmidts in the world.
Smiths and Schmidts. Whoa, wrong button. Yeah, I was mind blown on that one. But you're right. All the other, when I tried to find wrestling conspiracies, all the others were all urban legends, pretty much.
Yeah, urban legends or wild stories, or
Not
some
as,
of them sure based in truth.
not as much fun as I wanted. I was like, oh well, maybe.
Well, and usually the stories that get told are much more fun than the realities. I think one thing I've learned over the past 5 years of being with a company like Ring of Honor that does get reported on in the dirt sheets is how infrequent those things are correct. So it's a lot of it's just based in speculation or people filling in the blanks or talking about things they don't know, which creates a much more interesting story than what actually happened.
I just know what I know about Ring of Honor is what I've heard from the people that I've had on this show that were a part of Ring of Honor that said nothing but great things. You, Beer City Bruiser, LSG, Tony Deppen, I know I'm forgetting others, said nothing but great things. During the pandemic when it first started, nothing but they did things for you guys that they didn't have to, I guess. Or I guess other companies might not done. I don't know. I'm not in that business, but from everything I've heard, good stuff. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. Well, I thought some of it, I guess, was during the last couple months after the announcement and everything. You see all these stories out there. It's like I don't think one person got it totally correct. I was seeing reports on the meeting I had just sat in on and seeing all these reports from the meeting. I'm like, that didn't happen. That wasn't said. What are you talking about?
Well, what sells, right? Like we said earlier, whatever sells, whatever gets that click.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of what it is. It's whether it's like journalism in general, whether it's wrestling journalism or real, I should say real journalism as opposed to wrestling journalism, like mainstream news journalism. It's whatever's going to sell, whatever Dave Meltzer's trying to sell newsletters. I don't know that he cares if he's 100% accurate.
You have to pay for those newsletters?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. All those are behind like paywalls.
Oh, I'll just wait till another dirt sheet puts it out. What?
I think that's what happens. Everybody steals their news from like 2 or 3 sources, and then everybody just like. I think on all these other ones, like they pay for the subscriptions and then just throw it up on their sites for free.
Yeah, they probably do. I do remember though the last time you were on, I asked you about Paul McCartney actually being died, and there was actually a different Paul McCartney. Do you still believe in that?
It's of all the conspiracy theories. I don't know that I believe in like any conspiracy theory. I mean, there are some I believe in, but those might be more political ones that we'll avoid. But like the Paul McCartney one is the one where like I was like, there's a lot of actual like things you could point to that make a lot of sense as to why they would have done it. And at this point, the only thing that doesn't make sense is why keep up the ruse after all these years. But that was one that made so much, like all the stuff that was laid out. It was like this could actually be a thing.
Yeah.
The other one I believe pretty intensely is the U.S. government had something to do with the assassination of John F. Kennedy. That's the other conspiracy theory I 100% believe in.
I do too. And that was probably my first foray. I can't say it. My introduction to conspiracy theories. When when the movie JFK came out, I bet you is when I fell deep down that rabbit hole.
Like I don't know nothing about nothing, man. Like I'm just a regular guy. I don't think I'm overly smart, but I know Lee Harvey Oswald did not shoot John F. Kennedy from that vantage point.
Can't do it.
No way. No.
Cannot. if you they have tours. There's a guy that does a tour at Dealey Plaza. We'll take you on like this extremely long tour, do the actual drive that JFK had done. First of all, I don't know if I could do that myself. I think
it's a little eerie.
I think I'd freak out. But he doesn't, and he's a historian, and it just the way he runs through it, and if you're there, you have a better grasp on it's not physically possible. Seinfeld also did that.
It's pretty accepted. Well, I don't know if what's the show? It was on Netflix. It just got canceled. I wish it's like a superhero type thing. What the hell is it called? The Umbrella Academy.
Yeah, that got canceled.
Yeah, it got canceled. But they kind of tackle that a little bit.
They did in the second season.
Yeah, and I think great. I mean, it's pretty commonly accepted that the fatal shot came from the grassy knoll, right? Yep. I mean, that's kind of the pretty accepted. We maybe commonly accepted by people not in the federal government.
And then I am also there's so much around that incident that, first of all, makes me think there were a lot of people involved. One, especially the killing of Lee Harvey Oswald. It's just insane. Okay, so Ruby shot Oswald. Okay?
Yeah.
And let me see if I can get my facts straight, because I had this down. Ruby went there. He was just visiting. He was just visiting this is what we were told. He was just visiting a friend of his because I guess he ran a club. He may or may not have been. He wanted to be involved in the mob, I think was the thing. And he had cop friends there. So he was there visiting a cop. At the same time that they were bringing Oswald through, there was a jailbreak at the police station at the same time. So people were trying to escape behind Oswald at the same time. They bring Oswald through. Ruby is just standing there and boom, shoots him. Now that, to me, seems awfully convenient and odd.
Yeah. Yeah, there's just so many things around that don't make sense. And the fact that they sealed up all records, and I think some have been revealed, and then some records, I think at some point, are supposed to be unsealed again in the future, maybe. Like, there's, Lee Harvey Oswald did not kill the president, John F. Kennedy. It did not happen. Whatever you believe the motives were, but I think that's one of those crazy conspiracy theories that's true. I think there's just a fascination with these things. I mean, I remember growing up, and I think what probably started my just getting down and getting fascination or rabbit holes or whatever was my mom used to love like the National Enquirer, like Weekly World News, and some of those other like grocery store tabloids that would like Vampire Boy or all these crazy sort of
dog people
things that they would put in these tabloids. Yeah. So that was, I think that was like Weekly World News was the one for like those real crazy things, and it's fascinating. I mean, the one I probably have done a lot of, mostly read about recently is like there's just the multiverse theory, and I think it's because the fascination of like the Marvel Cinematic Universe is going to be doing a multiverse, but there's an entire multiverse theory out there where there's actually real scientists who think potentially that there really is an infinite amount of sort of universes that all live parallel one another, and like it's like things are slightly different in each one as you get further away and further away. Things are more and more extreme, but if you kind of think about it, like every one of us, all the different decisions that each one of us face on a daily basis have all like these crazy consequences. Like, think about the circumstances in which either you met your wife or you had a baby or you got a job and all the things that you've met people you've met along the way. And so we're all faced with these little sort of micro decisions every single day that all kind of impact our reality. And if you have this multiverse theory where, like, you know, maybe on like the day I met my wife, I met my this is how old I am. I met my wife in the AOL chat room in 1999. But maybe if I don't go on the internet that day, maybe if I went to my buddy's house instead, and we went to see a movie, you know, instead of hopping online that day, maybe I don't meet her, and you know what I mean. Like, there's just so there's so many.
Or your dialogue, like your dialogue doesn't work.
Yeah. There's just so that one is pretty fascinating, and one that seems like that could definitely be plausible, right?
What was your AIM handle?
Oh my God. So it was BubDog73. So growing up, I don't even know if I've ever revealed this on a podcast or anything before. Like, everybody in my family calls me Bubba.
Okay.
I grew up, that was my nickname from the day I was born. My dad called me that. So I don't know. It was just based on that. And 73 was my football number.
There you go.
But yeah, I was Bubba. I'm still Bubba to anybody who I went to school with and grew up with. If I haven't seen them in years, that's what they call me. So it's funny. Like, anybody who knew me like high school prior, that's what I am to them. And anybody I've met after the fact, I'm not that.
All right, I'm gonna finish off with this. I feel like there's many rabbit holes. Well, first of all, I do want one of your political conspiracies. I'm not a political guy, but I would like to hear one.
I mean, I straight up believe in the kind of like the medical industry conspiracy theory of things like and not so much that something like cancer, because cancer is many different diseases, but like something like diabetes, right? Or something, some of these other really debilitating diseases. Like, we have these devices in our hand that I'm talking to you on, that we can talk to anybody else in the world on. We can find any piece of information we'll ever want to discover ever about anything in the history of the world. But we don't find cures or seemingly better treatments for like these sorts of things. I do believe that there is not that maybe doctors are nefarious, but if you treated causes instead of symptoms, then and more people were well, then some of the sort of medical industry collapses, which is a big part of our economy. The other one that I sort of think about a lot is, again, maybe somebody smarter than me watching this can say, hey, no, you dummy, this is why this hasn't happened. But like, in however many years cars have been around, like, we haven't found like a affordable, suitable, widely available alternative to the combustible engine. Like, we still use gasoline, and we can't get electrical cars into people's hands. And it's like, why? Like, think about if the oil industry just all of a sudden collapsed tomorrow, because we didn't need gasoline anymore for cars. Like, world economies would just collapse. They would, think of how many world economies are, centered around oil and gas and things of that nature. So those are kind of like the political ones I subscribe to. Not getting too deep into it, there's a lot that makes sense to, COVID, obviously a very serious thing. I'm not one of these people. Like, it's not real and you shouldn't wear a mask. I'm not one of those people. But I also don't think it's ever going away either, because it's big business now. So
yeah. Well, it's the flu.
If you want to kind of jump down, include that electric car one. There's a documentary, and it's called Who Killed the Electric Car? Fascinating. It pretty much explains it right in there. Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's Who Killed the Electric Car, because the electric car and the gasoline engine came out at the same time in the 1900s.
Wow.
So like, there was Ford, and then there was another one.
I didn't even know that.
Yes. And then I want to say, and like, I'm terrible with years, but I want to say like the early 90s, they did have an electric car that was like doing more kilometers, miles than what the cars are doing right now, but they scrapped them. And in California, there are junkyards of these cars because you could only lease them. And at one point, the dealership came back and was like, hey, we got to take your car. And they're like, well, no, we'll just pay it out. And they're like, no, you have a lease, you can't buy it. And they're gone. And there's just junkyards in California full of these electric cars.
Yeah, because think of even just the United States was not dependent upon oil, to fuel cars for gasoline. Like, think of how much that would damage some world economies. Because, think of how much in this world financially is dependent upon oil. Like, it's wild. But those are kind of like the political ones, I guess. I subscribe to, and you'd have a pretty hard time convincing me otherwise on them.
Yeah, we could probably just have a whole show where we vent, or at least I could, on COVID. It's a
there's a ton of it. With
it's a serious
thing, political people get like, that's one thing I've really tried to stay out of in the realm of the world, because it's just nobody hardly. I think if you have a conversation with an individual person, like, it's a little different, and you can have differences of agreement, and you can have a intelligent conversation. But when you're in a medium like this or social media, it's never ever going to go well. The one thing I truly believe is, and somebody said it to me, probably in the last year or two, it's like, if you watch the news and you read this and you read that and you read social media, you'll believe that the world is burning down to its core. But it's like, you want to know what the world is like, walk out your front door and talk to your neighbors, because that's your world. That's the world, and I think that's, good or bad. It goes both ways. Kind of, that's your reality. That's more of your reality.
That's what you perceive. You're inside that cave, and you're perceiving what's in front of you at that moment.
Social media is it can be a powerful tool used for good, but oftentimes it's just
not.
It's a toxic wasteland at times, and for whatever reason, I feel like, Facebook, I feel like, has become like the, people just sharing clickbait and getting all their information from memes, and I feel like it's like your crazy great aunt who
you're my gypsy aunt
who sees something weird and shares it with everybody. And then Twitter is just like, I like cheeseburgers. Well, I know she didn't say you like pizza. Do you hate pizza? What the hell is wrong with you, moron?
What do you got against pizza?
I feel like that's kind of I feel like that's kind of what Twitter is like. I was like, no, I didn't say anything bad about pizza. I just like hamburgers better.
Oh man. I'll end with this, and it's hard to transition and end on a show like this when we really could just riff about anything, I feel. And you said technically you're not a free agent till the new year, but technically you are. So our door is always open if you ever want to come back and put yourself over, put the Bouncers over. You guys got to go kick some ass somewhere soon, in my opinion. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you'll see us somewhere. We're definitely have feelers out, and have had conversations with different places. I think right now there's 2 weeks left in 2021.
Right. Yep.
I got nothing on my books. I'm just going to sit back and try not to. I'm down like 65 pounds. In the next couple of weeks, I'm going to try not to put that 65 pounds back on.
You can
Christmas
do it.
Cookies and eggnog and all the other junk people are going to shove in front of my face over the next couple of weeks.
I have faith. You can do it. You can do it.
But I think with everything that's kind of been happening, I'm really looking forward to just having a couple weeks to just enjoy, the holiday season with the family and the kiddos, and Final Battle was a pretty awesome experience. I had a lot of anxiety, and my wife could probably attest better to it than I could, but I was not the funnest person to be around last week in the build up to the Final Battle. But then I got there and it was great to see everybody, and I had a lot of fun in the match we were in. And and then just seeing everybody and spending time. So feeling a lot better about it now, and just hopeful for the future. No matter where that holds. I mean, the one place you probably won't see the Bouncers is if you believe what you read online. That's probably WWE, because I don't think they're hiring guys in our stature or our age group. But I think everywhere else is probably on the table. So.
Well, before I let you go, I've said that twice now, but we're being told in the chat that the Crockett Cup in 2022 is in Nashville. Exactly. If somebody
I feel like if we were on Twitter right now, I could use those eyes emojis that everybody likes to use. But I will say that we loved our time in the NWA. I think if I could kind of pick a perfect place for us to land, it would probably be the NWA. I loved our time there. I love what they're doing. I love their product. It's such a good product to watch, and when we were there, it was a really fun environment to be a part of. It's still surreal to me interacting with Billy Corgan and having him produce segments of men and stuff. That's kind of wild. One of the first CDs I ever got was Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness.
Double CD right there, 1998, maybe 8.
Yeah, somewhere around there. But I think I love what they do there and their product, and we would certainly love to go back there. And who wouldn't want to be, if you're a tag team and knowing the lineage and history of the Crockett Cup, like how could you not want to be a part of that if you're a tag team?
Awesome. Any final words? You got anything for your tag team partner?
Oh, it's weird to think, we've had potentially our last match in Ring of Honor at this point. And, it sucks because just logistics of where we live, I'm definitely going to see them less and we're going to team a little less. But that's, I think going forward to the new year, I think it's important for us to find that new home for the Bouncers, because I think we got something special. Not this, and this, I hope this doesn't come across as negative, because I don't feel like it's negative, but I feel like we didn't even scratch the surface of our potential as a team in Ring of Honor. I think we did some good stuff. We got close on a few things, but I think we were really capable of so much more. But it's just, when you're in a company like that with some of the greatest tag teams in the world, it can be tough to break through. But I think we battled everybody they had. So I think, in 2022, I don't think the goal has changed, and that's for the Bouncers to become, tag team champions somewhere, no matter where that is.
That'll happen. I can feel it. That'll happen. They'll win that Crockett Cup there, Scooby, in the chat.
It's eluded us. Tag team championships have eluded us, and I think the Bouncers need that on their resume. And you haven't seen the last of Don't Call Me Brawler Milonas and Beer City Bruiser teaming together.
Where can people get a hold of you? Where can they find out?
Yeah, if you want to see me being a smartass and just probably, making fun of people or like just being a goofball, go to Twitter at Brian Milonas, Instagram at Brian Milonas KP. If you'd like a t-shirt, BrianMilonas.com. And if you're a really big fan and want a really, really, really good-looking wrestling buddy, BrothersGador.com has some really awesome wrestling buddies of yours truly, and also my tag team partner, the Beer City Bruiser, because you can't buy one without the other.
You can't.
I mean, you technically can, but come on, you can't have, one of us without having the other.
That'd be like buying Axe and not buying Smash.
Yeah,
Doesn't
exactly.
Make sense. Doesn't make sense. And Christmas is coming, so you should get that for your children.
The gift of the Bouncers. The gift that keeps on giving.
Well, Kingpin, I'm going to let you go. You're welcome back anytime, as long as my programmers allow that and program it in to the show.
Cool. Thank you so much.
Yeah, anytime, man. Welcome back. Later.
Take care.
Good.